Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's that time of the week again. It's time for the Sesh Podcast. I'm joined in studio, as always, with Dan Lee.
What up?
And just like we promised on our last podcast, we were able to somehow wrangle this young man up. Sherman Johnson's in the building.
How y'all doing?
We're good, man. We're good. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. It's going to be, I don't know how long it is, but it's going to be definitely a good time. I'm going to be talking about all topics, Silks. I'm going to be talking about players, people that work here, obviously, and obviously I'm going to be talking about Jordan and Daniel.
I can't wait.
I think that was pretty sincere from Daniel. Now, we teased a little bit that on our last podcast that we were going to try to get Sherman Johnson on because a lot of people, A, have been asking to have you on the show, and B, because you keep telling us you're going to tell us the truth. So, my man, the forum is yours. What is this truth that you're going to be telling?
I'm going to be talking about a lot, but we can start poker-wise. And I'll start with Daniel. He's definitely thought of at this poker room, maybe other poker rooms around Tampa, I don't know, but especially this one, as a rock. A lot of people think he's tight.
A lot of people think correctly.
Now, you've played with Daniel a lot, and you're basically saying that you believe this assumption to be incorrect.
I do. I've seen him get it all in with everything from aces to the king 4 off.
I definitely have never done that.
Off.
I don't think I've ever done that.
He definitely has, but this is my floor for right now, Daniel. I told the people I was going to tell him the truth, and this is what I'm going to do. So, a lot of people fold to him a lot, and sometimes it's right, but most of the time I'd say you're off. I've seen him move in with a number of bluffs. He does get out of line, and he does play some weird poker sometimes. Obviously, every now and then he's going to turn over the nuts. Like, yes, that's going to happen. But Daniel definitely gets away with more than people think.
Do you think he gets away with a lot because he's Asian?
I don't know. I'm not racist at all or anything.
I don't think that's where he was going with it exactly.
No, I didn't think he was either. But, I mean, it's just the stigma for Asian players is like they're gambly, like they gamble, and you don't really gamble as your image in this room. I know that you do because I've seen, like I said, a number of hands that you've turned over. But don't get me wrong, you are lucky. So maybe that's why people give you respect and kind of stay away from you. Maybe they don't think you have good cards, and maybe just know you're lucky and you'll get there.
I've yet to hear a compliment from this whole speech so far. Nothing like Daniel plays well, he reads people well, just getting lucky, gambly, sticks it in with the king 4.
Well, I didn't say I did say you're not gambly.
That's not really a compliment, though. I feel like that's just kind of like, Daniel's not gambly, but he is. But because I'm a rock, I think I would say out of all the players,
I think everything you just said would indicate you're not a rock.
Out of all the players I play with in this room, especially my friends, you are probably the person I play with the most.
Correct. That's why I know.
And I'm not gonna lie,
most people.
I do mix it up, every now and then. But would you say more often I'm turning over bluffs or I'm turning over the nuts?
Well, if you're bluffing, you're not going to turn it over at all. You're just going to say you win. So if you do turn over your hand, most of the time it's going to be a hand that you're not scared to show down with, and usually good. So that's why people think what they think. That's the only time they actually get to see your cards. Me, on the other hand, I know because I've caught you in the cookie jar before.
Is there like an instance that you can remember that,
Yeah, this is what I want to know. Is there a specific hand that you can remember where this went down?
Yes. It was a while back, probably like 3 years ago now. Daniel will never forget this hand because he thinks I got a gift, and I won't lie, I did. But I'm on the button. We're at, I think it was a 1-2 back then, but the 1-2 was playing kind of big, and I'm on the button with pocket 8s, and Daniel's ahead of me, and he decides to make it 15. Okay, cool. So I call, another guy calls, and the flop is 8-3 deuce rainbow. So I mean,
pretty good flop.
Flop's not bad, right?
Yeah.
Daniel leads out. Daniel, what can you have on this board? Nothing. So Daniel leads out. This guy calls. I call. Cool. The turn is a 3. Daniel checks. This guy checks. I lead. Daniel calls. This guy calls. Cool. And the river is just like a blank. Daniel leads.
Oh, okay. Interesting line.
This guy calls. And I do my little Hollywood. Obviously, I have 8s full. I do my little Hollywood. And I'm like, Daniel has nothing here. So obviously, I forget the other guy's in the hand. I'm so excited to get Daniel's money because everybody knows I'm after him and only him. So I ship it, obviously. Daniel insta-mucks because he was messing around the whole time.
Oh.
And I turn over my hand.
Oh, and the other guy
and the other guy sees my hand.
So I'm guessing he didn't call.
Call.
Oh, he still called.
He still called. Okay.
Call with ace king. So I was like, okay. So I scooped the money, and obviously after that hand, I was like, what are you doing there? Like, and this is the first time that I realized.
Oh, this is the eye-opening experience?
He messes around.
You know, sometimes you gotta fold aces. It's just one of those instances where aces are no good. So
See,
I gotta read.
And this is the thing. People. There's people out there that believe that, but there's other players like me, like you, like Dustin, like Phil Pacheco. We know you step out of line every now and then.
I think it's best to mix it up. I don't think you can play the same all the time.
100%. I'm not disagreeing. I mean, you've played a lot more poker than I have.
And here in particular, you got to pick your spots. Obviously, that was a bad spot.
Yeah, so
it's hard to bluff. It's hard bluffing into the nuts.
Yes, it is. I didn't have the nuts, but it
Might
definitely is hard to bluff there. But I'm sorry, I'm just not gonna call you a rock because I know otherwise.
I mean, that sounded like a pretty eye-opening experience for you when you first realized that Daniel messed around. I remember my first time I realized Daniel messed around. You know, because for the longest time I played with him, and the guy, you never saw his hand. You never knew. But every time you did see it, it happened to be like quads or top full house.
Of course.
So you're like, wow, this kid just plays like super, super tight, you know? And then I can't remember the exact hand, but I remember it got down to showdown. And Daniel's hand was like way off of what I was expecting it to be. Mm-hmm. It was like he somehow made it straight with like the 6-4, but yet was like bombing the whole way with a like
and backdoor.
Yeah, and just like somehow made it happen. He turned an open ender and then got there, and then the hand I'm expecting him to turn over is like top set, and he's just like blades, like the 6-4 straight.
Yeah.
I'm like,
so wait, before you go on any further, what you're saying is I turned over the nuts.
Yeah,
and I won the pot.
But what I realized is
that's all I needed to know.
What I realized is you mess around. That was like an eye-opening experience. It was like, oh, he doesn't just play aces, kings, queens.
No, because he probably raised the flop with 6 high there. And
yeah,
found a way to backdoor it.
It just bombed away.
Yes.
You're right. I don't just play these premiums, big pairs, ace, kings, hands like that. I play the nuts, which for all of you that don't know, the nuts in poker means it's the best hand possible. And by the way, you're making a sound. That's exactly what I had on this board. You know, I don't want to be results oriented, but you saw what you saw.
Well, that's the whole thing. Going back to me saying that you're lucky because you are. Like, there's no way. How many times is King 4 of Hearts the nuts? Well, obviously, if you flop 2 hearts with the Ace of Hearts on the board and you turn a heart, yes, King 4 of Hearts is going to be the nuts. Did you design it that way, or are you just lucky?
So let me ask you a question then, since you think I'm so lucky. Do you think I am better at getting people to call off with inferior hands than other people?
I think people play at you more because they want to beat you. I don't think it's you per se getting them to call off, because I've seen you get a number of just absolute gifts. Like, there's no way ace high should pay you off on every street, and I've seen it numerous times.
I watched him get paid off with 8 high on the river at the Hard Rock. $100. Here you go.
Misread his hand.
That's what I'm saying.
He misread his hand.
How many times do you see gifts like that to normal people? You don't.
He didn't have 8 high. He was playing the board.
No, he had 8 high. No, his hand was 8 high, and it was good. It was not good.
Except I had a full house.
Correct. He got counterfeited with his. He thought he had deuces and something, but no.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Like, how many times does that happen to you?
Never. I never get the $100 gift with 8 high.
Not often, but that happens to him. And to go back to his point to say he's not lucky. Not lucky. How many royals have you hit live?
I never said I wasn't lucky.
How many royal flushes have you hit playing live poker?
Maybe 1.
8. So I want everybody to know the number is
8. That's a lot, Dan.
He's 30 years old. He's at 8 royal flushes.
I actually feel like that's kind of low.
He's a moron.
Exactly.
No, it really is. Like, I feel like you should hit like one a year.
I've never hit a live royal flush. I've hit a couple online, but never a live.
Well, you guys just aren't playing good enough, obviously.
What's that have to do with being lucky? Well, you think we're just going to fold royal flush cards? Is that what we're doing, Pre?
You, maybe not. Jordan, I don't know. You guys kind of have a similar style. We should start talking about you guys and your style.
Go ahead. Let's talk about my style then, Daniel.
So, Jordan, how would you rate Sherman's game? Would you say he's loose? Would you say he's tight? Is he aggressive? Is he passive?
If you listen to last week's podcast, I think we talked a little bit about Sherman's game, and I would say he's exploratory.
Can you elaborate on that?
It means he likes to play a lot of hands.
So he likes to splash around.
He likes to see a lot of flops.
I mean, he could do that without putting money in. Like, I don't know if he realizes that a lot of people here are loose enough to where you can see the flop without having to pay for it. Like, sometimes you got to fold the 6 deuce of hearts for 30 pre-flop. I'm not saying that you've done that before, but I'm just saying sometimes you got to, tighten up a little bit. But I do like that term that you use, exploratory. How do you feel about that term?
I don't know how to feel about that. Exploratory.
It's a compliment, kind of.
It's definitely not a compliment.
Would you say it's more like an insult?
Definitely. I mean, Jordan's. This is nothing new. This guy's been coming at me since we played, and it's not my fault. It's his. I mean, I don't like to go after my friends on the poker table. Well, I do. But Jordan and Dustin, when they're on the poker table, like, trust me, I'm not going to go out of my way to not take their money.
I thought Dustin was public enemy number 1 recently. We'll get to that later,
yes,
but
we will.
Okay.
But normally, I'm not going to go out of my way to go get Jordan or Dustin.
So
now,
why do you come after me and not those two?
Well, you like to talk a lot of, for lack of a better word, shit. We won't even be here yet. And you're like, oh, I can't wait to stack you. I'm going to take all those chips. You've heard this before, Jordan.
Yeah, he does like talk a lot of shit.
So, I'm a competitor. So, yeah, we can compete. There's no problem there.
I never say anything in poker that's not true. So, if I'm going to say I'm going to stack you, it may take a while, but all your chips are coming to me at some point.
Well, that's not true. I mean, if you dig in your pocket for $8,000, yeah, you can stack me once.
You're telling me that I talk more than Dustin.
I didn't say that. Dustin Bradley talks a lot of shit. And normally it's not to me. No, I do owe him something. He knows what it is. He knows it's coming. But normally it's to other players. And it's been quite funny. We've had a couple of run-ins with him and other players where he's talked a little shit and they've given it back. And
you actually saved his life one day. Do you remember this day?
Man, I do remember the day.
Can you go over it with us real quick?
I will go over it. I'm not gonna name any names. I'm not gonna say I saved his life or anything. But
I mean, you did.
Well, you guys are saying it. There was just a hand. It was late one night. It wasn't that late, but it was late. And Dustin and this player were in a pod, and obviously they'd had a previous interaction, I'll say, to where this player wanted Dustin to put in money so he could see the flop for a high hand. They were in the blinds. And Dustin said no and just folded. Well, this player took exception to that and was not too happy. So apparently he put it in his head that next time that he got in a pot with Dustin and he had a hand where he could do it, he was going to slow roll Dustin. Me, Jordan, and Daniel did not know at the time what had happened previously, but we figured it out really quick. It was kind of a deep pot between player and Dustin.
Player.
I'm curious who this is.
It was deep, and the river came, and this player checks, and Dustin does what Dustin does. He bombed it, and this player took an extraordinary amount of time to make this decision. And
actually, what happened is Dustin checked, and this player bet, and Dustin snap called with the nut straight, which is not the nuts, but it was the nut straight.
Okay.
And then, correct, this player took an exceptionally long amount of time.
And while he's thinking, still, I have no idea what's going on. I'm like, dang, he's thinking a long time. Maybe he's got a set. I don't know. Dustin just starts talking out loud. He's like, oh, this guy is just going to slow roll me back because I got him. And I was just like, oh, that's what's going on here. And Then some words are exchanged.
Did these words involve him calling Dustin a bitch?
He did in fact call Dustin that word. And Dustin said, you don't want none of this, buddy. We could take this outside. And that is when the guy immediately stood up and said, let's go outside then. And I decided to hold Dustin back. I didn't want him to get in a fight, get kicked out. A lot of people say I saved his life. I don't know if Dustin could have taken this. This guy was definitely bigger than Dustin. I don't know if he could have taken him, but he's my friend, so I've got his back. I held him back, and the situation was resolved.
Well, if you didn't save his life, you certainly saved him a night at the hospital. That much I will say. I don't know if Dustin could have taken this guy. It'd be like a pretty close battle, but this guy was a pretty big dude. So
I mean, I probably would have put money on this other guy. Yes.
Wow. And Dustin's both of your friends.
Oh yeah, and that's why I was happy that you stepped in and saved him. I also got in between. It was like, Dustin, said a good idea, bruh. But cooler heads prevailed, and everything's all good now.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm actually shocked to this day, at least not from what I've seen, that Dustin hasn't gotten into a physical altercation, given the way he is at the table.
He can rub people the wrong way. That's for sure.
For sure. He's definitely a player where you'll know when he's winning or not winning. If he's winning, he's loud. Everybody's gonna know it. Cowboys are the best. If he's losing, headphones are on. Don't talk to him.
See, that's one of the things I can appreciate about your game, Sherman. Whether you're winning, whether you're losing, you seem to keep a pretty standard manner at the table. You don't get too high, you don't get too low. Well, when you're winning, you seem to be feeling pretty good. You're on cloud nine. But when you're losing, you're still interacting at the table, having a good time. Dustin, when he's losing, you're right. The headphones go on, the phone's busted out. He's gonna start streaming some ninja shit, and he's just no fun to be around. But when he's winning, the whole room knows he's winning.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Speaking of the room, I saw these new promotions that are coming next month. What do you guys think of that?
I personally like them. I think it's about time that the Silks did something to, something different. I feel like players, they like variety, and players love promotions. Me, honestly, doesn't really affect me. I'm going to play here all the time. I'm a loyal customer. I just love the room, the players, the action, obviously. But I do like the new promotions that they're running. I think it's going to bring a lot of business in.
What about you, Jordan?
Yeah, from what I've seen, they look pretty good. I don't hit high hand, so really this won't play any factor in my normal, normal sessions here. But yeah, if it helps bring players in, and I agree with Dan Lee, people like a variety, something different, not the same shit all over and over. I think it'll help.
All right. I looked over them a little bit, and it's a lot. That's a lot of stuff that they're changing. I think it's good too. Hopefully, it'll bring some more players in here, to where it used to be. Like Saturdays will be packed. 30 on the list. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, back in the day, you used to get some solid wait list here because there was a lot of people who wanted to play. Speaking of new things going on in September, so you get the new promotions.
Yeah.
They got the PLO tourney that they're going to be busting out. Can we expect to see Sherman Johnson in the 5K guarantee PLO tourney?
No, I'm not a PLO fan by any means.
It's only $150 though.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, man.
It's really not. That's considering that we play one of the bigger, more action games here, that's pre-flop.
Well,
so
I wouldn't really say my forte is PLO. That game is interesting. You pretty much just bet when you have the nuts, and even when you do have the nuts, you don't have the nuts because somebody's drawing. So I don't know. I like to stick to the 2-card game. I like to watch the PLO. I think it's interesting for sure. I definitely like to see Dustin in there, see you in there, and Danny.
I'm definitely playing. Like I told Jordan the other day, I love playing PLO. It is quite gambly, and in this case, as opposed to losing thousands and thousands playing cash, I can only lose 150 playing this tournament.
That's
so
true.
That's the kind of way I look at it.
Yeah, hopefully it's a hit. Hopefully there's. What are they gonna do? 100 players in that tournament, man. I know a lot of people here talk about always trying to get a PLO going, and I think they like it, so it should be fun.
Yeah, I might even play it. Silk Sesh is not covering that tournament, so I know Daniel's going to play. I'm sure Dustin will play. I might throw my hat in the ring there and see what's going on,
You should get in there. Maybe get it last longer.
That'll be interesting.
Pick anybody but Daniel Lee, you know what I'm saying?
Well, PLO is a lot of luck, and if you're basing this off of luck, you claiming that I'm one of the luckiest players you should pick me.
No, I wouldn't pick you just out of principle.
Wow. A lot of spite towards Dan Lee. I don't know what that's about.
I like to think of it as more like admiration.
Is that accurate? You think that's probably pretty accurate?
I don't, but whatever he needs to think about to sleep at night, whatever.
That's one of the things with poker. I'm not saying that there's any of that in this room in particular, but there's just a lot of ego. And I feel like I understand you're competitive. You want to be great.
So you're telling me you have no ego? Go ahead and lie to my face.
I did not say that.
Okay, so what are you talking about?
My ego is not as big as some people's. I don't go out of my way to try to beat certain players that I know might be better than me just because, they always beat me.
Like who?
It doesn't matter who.
No, it matters.
I'm not naming names
Why don't you name some names? Who's better than you? I want to hear it.
Everyone's better than me.
See? And now that's just false. You do. You have a big ego. It's okay. You don't have to admit it.
I don't rate players. I don't put myself on this, this scale of being the better player than,
So you sit down at the
Jordan
table in
and
the
Sherman.
Silks and you don't think you're better than the other players sitting there. Go ahead and lie again.
That kind of stuff I keep to myself.
Okay, you keep it to yourself, but there's still the ego there. You still think you're better. You might not say it. You're not arrogant.
But do you see me going out of my way to, try and get these players to try and prove that I'm better than them?
No, but you've played at me a couple times on the table. You've played at Jordan and you've played at Dustin. So let's not act like you don't have an ego.
I didn't say I didn't. I said I don't think I have as big an ego as others might have.
Like who?
You know what? Let's move on to the next topic.
No, I'm curious. Who has this big ego?
I mean, it's just a lot of players in this room.
This is a tell-all, so why don't you tell?
You're the one that was, quote-unquote, telling the truth.
And I will, but you're the one backing away from the truth right now.
Okay, so who do you think has the biggest ego in this poker room?
I don't. There's a lot of players that have egos in this poker room, and it doesn't matter. To me, I mean, obviously, I think Dustin has a big ego. Cool, whatever. If that's what he needs to do.
Now, do you think having a big ego in poker makes you play a certain way? Does it make you a better player? Does it make you a worse player?
I think it depends on the player.
Okay, we'll use Dustin for example.
Okay. Ego's never good in poker. It'll kill you.
I think it's different with Dustin. I think he gets emotional, and I think his emotions that happen maybe in one hand linger. So, yeah, I mean, at that point, I think it could be bad for Dustin, but...
I mean, I think you need to have confidence when you play. Correct. I think you need to 100%. Think you are one of the best players at the table, if not the room. However, ego is what will kill you. That unwillingness to give up a pot when you know you're beat to somebody, because that ego, you just don't want to take that L to that person. That's bad. That's bad news. So, I mean, I don't think you should ever have ego in a poker game, and that's why I don't have it. That's why I'm pretty content with just, hey, you guys are the best, and I just do my thing.
Fair enough.
Did I answer your question?
I mean, I think that's pretty standard.
Yeah, I mean, seemed like a good answer to me. I do want to talk about love life.
Okay, that was going to be a topic for sure.
This is a very strange transition.
We go from ego to love life. It's all good.
I've heard that a member of the Sesh Podcast is seeing somebody new.
Well, I'm a member of the Sesh Podcast, and I can tell you I'm not seeing anyone currently, so that would only leave one other member.
Daniel.
Well, unless there's a third member I don't know about. Ladies, I am single, so...
So there's nobody that you're currently interested in?
Not that I know of.
No?
I mean, this is the Silks. Rumors spread. Things are heard. You can believe what you want.
I've heard some news on the street. I've heard that there's a new woman that's taking some of your time.
See, think about what you just said. You heard some news on the street. I feel like unless you hear it from the source.
Okay, well, why don't you just confirm it then?
It's very non-believable.
Okay.
Confirm what?
We're in a tell-all, right?
Yeah, tell-all.
You should feel safe here. Is there any woman that you've been spending some time with?
Yeah, just between the three of us.
I mean, I haven't seen my mother in a while, so yeah, sometimes I'll, hang out with her, go to dinner, she'll come over and hang out. My sister, Yeah.
Any woman that you're not related to, you haven't been spending any time with after hours?
What do you mean after hours?
I don't know, 3, 4, 5 a.m.?
Like normal people, that's usually when I'm asleep.
Well, that's just not true. So if you don't want me to just blast you on this, let's have a conversation.
I mean, I'm telling you what I think what the people want to hear is what you want to hear also.
No. The people want to hear what I have to say. the people know I have something to say.
There may be a young lady that I've been chatting with over the last few months.
Now we're telling the truth.
However,
open it up.
However, it's not what people make it out to be.
Okay, well, maybe it's not, maybe it is. And we're here on this podcast to figure out what it is.
Is this little Philly interested in you, and maybe you're not as interested in them, or what's the situation?
That I don't know. We've never discussed this. Like I said, rumors just fly. This room is like it's like gossip central.
Okay, so let's not talk about the room and what they think. Let's talk about what's true. Jordan, ask you a question.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Does this person maybe have a little crush on you, or are you both crushing on each other? Like, what's the situation with this person?
I mean, I can't answer for this particular person. As far as me, I just talk to this person as if, we're good friends.
And that's good. That's a great place to start. I mean, you want to be friends with somebody that you're going to get involved with later down the road.
So is that the case? Who says we're getting involved?
I don't know. I'm just asking, is that the case?
I just enjoy talking to people in general.
Okay.
And this particular person is just, fun to talk to.
All right. Well, have you guys been on any dates yet, or? Obviously.
What do you mean yet?
Yet. I mean, have you taken her out to dinner?
But you're saying yet as if I hadn't done it already, that I'm going to in the near future.
Well, I don't know if you've done it yet or not. Oh, okay, I'll just ask you the question. Have you been on a date with her?
With this particular young lady? No, I have not.
Okay, so my next question is what I just asked you. Are you going to take her on any dates?
We're just friends. So that should answer the question for you without me having to actually answer it myself.
All right, let me ask you this question. If this friend of yours said to you, Daniel, I don't know what it is, but I just want to fuck you, what kind of response are we going to have to this friend? Are we just going to say, hey, I'm sorry, young lady, I can't do that? Or are we interested?
I thought this was a PG audience that we were reaching out to.
Yeah, you definitely went out there with that one, Jordan, but hey.
You weren't expecting that, were you?
I was not expecting that. The question stands.
I think that's a pretty interesting question. Now, you don't have to answer. We don't even know who this person is. We haven't named this person. We don't even know what their name is. But if there was a person out there, I mean, you say you're just friends. If she were to somehow hit you up with that kind of proposition, it sounds like you're saying you would decline, but friendly decline.
Well, let me be the first to tell you that I don't think that situation would happen.
Okay.
Is this one of these situations where you're just trying to stay friends so you don't mess up a friendship? So if you took it further, you're fearing that it might interfere with the friendship. Is that why you're trying to keep it that way?
You know what? That sounds like a great answer.
But it's not your answer. So what is your answer?
I think that's a suitable answer. I think I could agree. I think I can get behind that. Yes. I would not want to interfere with our friendship because I enjoy talking to this person. Mm-hmm. We've never taken things to another level, regardless of what may be heard or seen around this room.
Okay. I trust you, so I'm just asking. Go ahead.
And, I just want to keep friends with this person. And I can't control how one person feels over another.
Okay.
So, and to answer your question... You know what? I'm just not going to.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to answer it. It's all good.
So I'll keep the question. Have you and this person ever done anything?
What do you mean?
I mean, like have you guys ever hooked up, kissed, anything past that?
Define hooked up. Like, have we slept together? Is that what you're asking?
Have you kissed? Have you done anything sexually?
Let's start with kiss.
Okay.
All I'm going to say is that with this particular person, I have done more than hug her.
Okay.
And that's all. As we're going to leave it at that.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, we made strides here. I mean, Phil tried for like an hour and a half to try to crack this code.
I feel like hugging is the safest, just kind of thing to do. So we're just going to leave it at that.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Sherman, you did a good job. I mean, Phil tried literally for an hour to crack the code that is Dan Lee's love life, and we didn't get this far, so that's good.
Well, I don't want complete silence, to our viewers. I need to make this.
Absolutely.
Well, I promised. I said I'd come on here and get the truth, so I mean, this is a tell-all. So
it's a tell-all, you know.
I will say Daniel's birthday's coming up, so everybody will get to wish him a happy birthday. Daniel, will this person be at your birthday party?
I've invited them. Have not gotten a commitment, so it'll really be a surprise if this person shows up or not.
What do you think?
I honestly don't know.
No?
So we will see in a couple weeks. Are you guys going to show up? I just remember I've invited Jordan to many of these events in the past. My 28th birthday, 29th, 30th. This is 31st. I get to see you at any of the previous events.
Are you saying Jordan's a bad friend?
I wouldn't say Jordan's a bad friend, but yes.
As many of you guys know, I do a lot with my life besides play poker. I'm very active in the community. I teach young kids how to become hockey studs like I once was. I also work a pretty normal hour job, I will say. So my time's pretty much taken, as far as from the beginning of the morning to when I go to bed at night, my time is pretty much taken up the entire time. Now, Daniel's happened to have his birthdays on some pretty bad days for me as far as my availability. However, this time he is doing his birthday on a Wednesday. A Wednesday is a good night for me to make some time available to hang out with my boys. So I can tell you there's a very good chance I will be there.
So you're going to grace us with your presence that night?
I'm pretty sure I'll be in the building.
And how about you, Sherman?
I'll be there. I mean, it's the off season for me, so yeah, I'll be there. Whenever I can, I'm there. I thought we should do some paintball, but
no, that'll come later on down the road. Like me and you. So me and you're going to Vegas soon.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, let's talk about that trip.
Yeah, and then we're gonna go out for my birthday.
That's gonna be a wild trip,
later down sometime later down the line we can do paintball because I've been very interested in doing that as well.
For sure.
Yeah, speaking of Vegas, so a very good friend of mine is getting married in a couple weeks, and she's having a wedding out in Las Vegas, and I love Vegas. Could never live there, but give me a couple of days out there, play some poker, gamble a little bit, just have some fun, drink, party, whatever. And Sherman and I are going out there for her wedding is the occasion, but we're going to find some other stuff to do. We're going to be leaving on Saturday morning, September 7th.
Yep.
And we'll be there for a few days, so if anybody out there listening, come find us. Yeah, come party.
Come on through.
I happened to see that this person was trying to get a good head count to see who wanted to go to the show Absinthe. Are you guys going to be partaking in the show Absinthe?
We will be there.
I think we will be there. I don't even know what to expect. I've never been to a show in Vegas.
I can tell you, Sherman, make sure you don't sit on the outside row because you might find yourself being part of the show pretty quickly.
Well, I'm not shy by any means, but I wouldn't say I want to go up there.
I'm not shy either, but if you want a shot to go up there, sit on the outside edge and make sure to have a few drinks before.
Wow, did you have some experience with this?
I did.
Can we talk about what happened?
Sure, why not? I'm an open book here. Unlike Dan Lee, the other member of the Sesh Podcast, I'm an open book. You guys can ask me anything.
Well, this topic is a little different from my topic.
Yeah, it's the same.
Go ahead and explain how that experience went.
Well, we were all out in Vegas. Me, Dan Lee, Dustin, Anthony, Rob Delacamera. We were all having a good time, and Anthony got some tickets to show Absinthe, which is a phenomenal show. If you've ever been to Vegas or you plan on going to Vegas, take a look at getting some seats for this show called Absinthe. It's held outside of Caesars, kind of like in this big-ass tent, but it's like a comedic, acrobatic show. It's fucking impressive. So we all went to the show, and Anthony, being the high roller that he is, we got hooked up with like these front row seats. Rob and Anthony had already seen the show, so they knew what to expect. We roll in there, and we're like going to our seats, and Rob all of a sudden stops me. And's like, "Hey, Jordan, you know what? You go ahead and take the outside seat. It's all good. Like, you'll get an extra leg room."
Yeah, and you were all about that.
Yeah, I'm like, cool, I'll take the outside seat. Yeah, so me and Rob are sitting there.
And you still have no idea what the show is, what's going on, why you're sitting on the outside?
No, I have no idea. So I'm sitting there, and I'm watching the show, and it's really entertaining. It's funny, some cool shit. But the guy who's the MC just keeps fucking staring at me.
Yeah.
He just keeps looking at me, and I'm like, the fuck is he looking at? So like I tapped Rob, and I'm like, are you noticing this guy keeps staring at me? And Rob's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And so what happened was, about halfway through the show, they get this like shy little Asian girl to come up on stage.
Okay.
And then they're like, we're going to bring on two guys from the audience to do a little lap dance for you. So they sit her down, and they picked like this goofy white dude.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the dude was like, "And the black guy, Jordan," and he just like picked me. I was right there in front. He was like, "You're good. You come on up." So apparently, Rob said at the previous show they did the same thing, and it was like a goofy white dude and a black guy. So like he knew that like me sitting on the outside in the front row, there's a very good chance I was gonna get picked. So I get up there, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous. So the white guy goes first, doing a little lap dance for this girl. Then I go up there, I do my thing, I hold it down, and I think it's pretty clear that I should have won. They made the little Asian girl vote on who won, and she like was like so nervous when they told her to pick. She didn't know what to do, and she just like picked the white dude, right? So I was pretty disappointed about that. Yet that was like on a Friday night. We didn't leave Vegas till Monday. So all weekend I had people coming on to me and be like, "You're the guy who gave the lap dance. Oh, you were so good. Like you should have won all this shit."
Awesome. People were like noticing.
Oh yeah, people knew what was up. So then even Monday when we were in the airport, we're going back to Tampa. I'm trying to upgrade my seat at the counter, and this fine ass girl comes up to me and she's like, "I saw you at the Apps' show. You give a great lap dance. You're on." And I'm like, "Oh shit, what's up?" But yeah, her boyfriend was like right behind her after that. So I was like, "Oh," but yeah, man. So it was really fun. Rob Della Camera may have recorded that and he may have that footage somewhere. But it's a fun show. So if you go, be prepared. You know that could be you.
Yeah, it's definitely not gonna be me. I'll make sure I sit in the middle. Incognito. I'm definitely not getting up on stage. I don't want to be on.
I thought you weren't shy. I've seen the dance moves. We've all gone to the Dallas Bowl.
Oh yeah. Speaking of the Dallas Bowl, how many years ago was that? But yeah, we went and we went there for one special person.
That's right. Yeah,
our friend. We had his back, and I believe he was crushing on a girl then too, wasn't he? Oh. And,
who's that person?
I don't know. Maybe you should ask him. Daniel.
If he were here, I would definitely ask him, but we'll get to that another time.
No. We gotta discuss this little situation here, because this was an interesting situation as well.
Yeah.
Not really.
No, I think.
All right. Long story short.
No.
I met this girl in a bowling league a while ago. If you guys haven't figured it out, they're talking about me.
What was her name?
As I love you. Her name was Catherine.
Okay.
I met her in a bowling league. There was a couple weeks where we would just bowl next to each other, and I was kind of feeling her. I'm not gonna lie. And we went out one night to a bar after bowling, and one of my
well, so first of all, you explain how this went down.
Let me tell this story.
No, you were gonna fast forward all the good shit,
and then you can elaborate after.
No, I'll go ahead and tell this, bro. So you're we're hanging out. This girl's cool, whatever. She likes hanging out with us when we're at the bowling alley. Daniel gets her number. They start texting. And then all of a sudden, Daniel was like, "Yo, what are you doing tonight?" And she's like, "Well," she's like, "me and my friends are going to head out to a bar. You want to come?" Now, anyone who knows Daniel knows he's not the biggest drinker. He's not the biggest dancer. But he says, sure, why not? So...
Okay, before you go on any further, where I was going was actually before this incident.
Oh, okay.
Because obviously you don't remember, because you wouldn't let me tell the story, because I was going to
get into... skip that.
I was going to get into where you were going with it.
We'll go to George.
Oh, no, he's obviously not telling the story correctly. He's not
we're getting the important part here. So, you agree to go to the bar with this girl, and you're like, "Yeah, I'll bring some friends too." So you round up Sherman, you round up me, and I'm like, "Yo, where are we going?" And you're like, "Oh, we're going to Dallas Bowl." I'm like, "That's far as fuck." Like, I don't even want to go like 10 minutes from my house, but we're going to Dallas Bowl. And Daniel's like, "Yeah, that's where her and her friends are going." So we roll up there. Now, Sherman and I, this ain't really our scene, okay? Anyone that's been to Dallas Bowl, this isn't really where we excel. However, there was an upstairs, thankfully, that was playing some good music. So we went up there, and Daniel stayed downstairs to hang out with his girl on the dance floor. She was line dancing and all this shit. But I'm kind of curious of what these friends look like, because, shit, we came all this way. She better have some good-looking friends. That is when she seemed to introduce all of us to her friends that happened to be like two other dudes, which I thought was a little fucked up. Now, I don't know, Daniel, how'd you feel about this little situation here?
It was very unexpected. I told her I was bringing friends. I assumed she already kind of knew that they were guys. She said she was bringing friends. I think we were all under the assumption, as everybody else would be, that they were females. So it kind of took me by surprise, and it was kind of hard to engage with her after seeing that. So I danced with her a couple times. We talked for a little bit, and we didn't really stay too long, and that was that. It was a very short kind of relationship, if you will. We won't even call it that.
So you never talked to her after that?
I mean, I didn't really see any reason to after that. I already got the vibe that she wasn't feeling it, and by bringing 2 other males with her to a club where she invited me to go, didn't make too much sense.
Yeah, that wouldn't sit right with me. I was definitely a little thrown off because I was thinking like maybe she's got some cute friends that can say what's up, but not the case.
Yeah, not at all.
So, Sherman Johnson, before we let you go, and we appreciate your time. Obviously, you've been a very wanted guest for quite some time. Is there any other tell-alls that you want to leave us with, or that you have for us here?
Before you go on, I feel like we even need Jordan on the show. I feel like had it just been you and I, it would have just been fine. Because it sounds like to me that this whole episode has pretty much just been about putting me on the spot.
I just talked about me and Absinthe on stage, lap dancing.
Which is fine because, I can take it. I'm a man. I can handle it.
Daniel, are you done?
Go on. Go ahead.
This wasn't really putting you on the spot. I mean, there's a lot of times I could have said names. I could have, said some stuff that I knew. But I gave you the chance to tell the truth. For the most part, I will say you told the truth. You're not a rock. I don't care what you say. You're not, And I want the people that come into this room to know the truth. They deserve to know the truth. They deserve to know what I know. Now, maybe you get more action out of it. Maybe you start, people start paying you off even more.
Yeah, maybe you get paid off with 6 eye.
But now your bluffs aren't going to get through.
I'm just saying, you were there the other day last Wednesday. When I got into that pot with Rich, I had aces, which is the best hand possible in poker.
Okay, let's talk about that pot. Because that's the biggest gift I've ever seen.
I'll explain the story, and you interrupt me at any time when you hear anything that doesn't ring true.
Yeah, go ahead. Cause I watched
so Rich was on the button, and he put a straddle on.
Okay.
I'm in the small blind, and I make a 25.
With?
I had 2 black aces.
Okay.
And I get 2 callers. Gets back to Rich. He makes it 50.
In what world do you min bet here? In what world do you min bet on the button?
I mean, this is Rich.
I want you to tell me what hand you're min betting the button with.
I'm not.
Okay, go ahead.
So anyway, he's about, I want to say, 700 effective, and I have him covered. And obviously, with 2 people left to act behind me, I'm going to put in a sizable raise. So I make it $205.
Correct.
The next 2 player folds. And I think even before the last player folded, Rich had already called.
This is all true.
Rich, he he doesn't really think too much. He just kind of goes with it. So he calls.
Time out. So let's pause the story right here. Would you say that Rich is one of those guys that just wants to beat you, so he's always going to play at you even when he knows he's behind?
I could get behind that idea. I could agree with that, yeah.
It's 100% true. Go ahead.
So at this point, there's $450, $460 in the middle. And he's got about 400 back, maybe a little bit more. I have him covered. And the flop comes out 8-7-5 with 2 spades. I don't think there's any other option here but to just shove. No need to get fancy. No need to bet half pot. If he's got it, he's got it. So I just rip it in, and he snap calls me.
You can't feel good about that.
All right. Obviously, a little cause for concern.
He snap called him and then goes, Daniel, you want to run it once or twice?
I'm not going to lie. When he said that, I felt really good about my hand, actually.
Made you feel like he was on a flush draw?
So
it was rainbow.
Oh, I thought you said there's 2 spades.
No, there was 2 spades out there. So I gave him the option because, I honestly never care. So he's like, let's go twice. So the first turn was...
so he has a 6 in his hand.
No.
The first turn was, I think, like a king.
Okay.
And the river was...
No. The first turn was a king. Right? Right.
That's what I just
said. And then before the river comes out on the first board, Daniel goes, I have 2 aces.
Okay, that's what you want to say.
And Rich, this is out of this is out of the world. Like, this can never happen. Rich goes, do you really have 2 aces, Daniel? I can't beat that. What did you think he had?
I mean, what am I shoving in 500 with on the flop? And
maybe
200 pre-flop.
Maybe Rich knows what you know, Sherman, and he knows that Daniel likes to mess around sometimes.
Yes, but you have to pick your spots. Daniel's not messing around here. Like, his hand, he could have put the 2 aces on his forehead. Rich would have still called. Keep going.
So the first turn came a king. The second river was a blank. And he's like, that's you. I'm like, all right, good. At least I got my money back. I remember I turned top set on the second board, and then the river was also insignificant on the second board, and he folds. Did not see his hand. However, Sherman claims to have had saw it.
I did see his hand because he was like, oh, I can't beat that. And he flashed his cards up and folded. He had 2 9s.
Oh, that's not a bad flop for 2 9s.
You're right. It's not. But would you be committing 400 with 2 9s if you were rich against me?
Committing 400, he committed 700.
Well, I get it. On the flop, I mean.
I think it's funny that he has 2 9s and he's shocked that you have 2 aces.
Like,
let alone like
there?
2 kings, 2 queens, 2 jacks. Let alone like all those combinations. Like, did he not think that was a possibility either?
So, would you consider that a gift?
Yes.
100% that's a gift. Because nobody... Who else is doing that? Who else is min-raising? Everybody else just calls the button there.
Well, I appreciate... as all of you know, Rich is my favorite player of all time to play with. Great action. Good guy. Just, you know, a very... I'm not going to lie. He's a tough opponent. He's very hard to put on a hand. He will gamble with you. He does put the pressure on. So, you know, he just picked a bad spot at that time. But it happens, you know?
Yeah. He definitely, I've definitely seen Rich cash out a lot of money. He's definitely not scared to get the money in the middle, that's for sure. And he definitely will. But.
Well, Sherman, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Anything else you have to say before we let you go?
No, just want to thank you guys for having me, man. Daniel, you've been a great sport about it. And Jordan, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Until next time, make sure to follow us on all social media platforms. On Facebook, Silk Sesh Podcast. On Twitter, @Silk Sesh Podcast. On IG, Silk Sesh Podcast. Also follow Sherman Johnson on Twitter. Should we follow you? What's your Twitter handle?
You guys can. Instagram, Twitter, it's the same. It's @ShermSticky32.
And don't forget to like and subscribe this video on YouTube @Silk Sesh Podcast.
Till next time, peace.